Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Diamond Burnett and I am outside again. I'm at a neighborhood park today. So there is definitely more cars since there's like a main street that way and there's some homes on this side. So there will be cars. There will be dogs barking. Well, the dog was barking earlier, but I'm not sure. But just a heads up so you all know. And yeah, there are gonna probably be cars passing me from behind. But yeah, we're gonna keep on keeping on. And we are on chapter 4, Love's Equity. And I believe we ended yesterday on verse 7. So I think I am going to shimmy back to verse 5 to just give a little context. And yeah, let's get started. If you have your book, feel free, like a physical copy, feel free to read along. If you have like a digital copy, feel free to read along. And if you don't have like the Course of Love, or if you're still looking on if it's like a book you want to invest in, yeah, that's totally fine. And I can just read to you. So let's get started. So I'm gonna sit a bit back here. Maybe I can move the camera up a bit so you guys can see me and hear me. So I'm sitting on like this big rock. So yeah. Okay, that's better. All right, let's begin. So yeah, verse 5, 4.5. All fear ends when proof of your existence is established. All fear is based on your inability to recognize love and thus who you are and who God is. How could you not have been fearful with doubt as powerful as this? How can you not rejoice when doubt is gone and love fills at all the space that doubt once occupied? No shadows linger when doubt is gone. Nothing stands between the child of God and the child's own source. There remains no clouds to block the sun, and night will give way to day. Verse 6. Child of God, you are alien here, but need not be alien to yourself. In your knowledge of yourself, all threat of time and space and place dissolves. You may still walk in alien land, but not in a fog of amnesia that obscures what will be a brief adventure and replace it with dreams of terror and confusion, so rampant that no toehold of security is possible, and day turns endlessly into night and a long march toward death. Recognize who you are, and God's light goes before you, illuminating every path and shining away the fog of dreams from which you waken undisturbed. Love alone has the power to turn this dream of death into a waking awareness of life eternal. Yearning, learning, seeking, acquiring, the need to own, the need to keep, the grasping call, the driving force, the chosen passion, all these things that you have made to replace what you already have will lead you back as surely as they lead you astray. So I feel like in that verse, it feels like it's like the creations that we've created here, whether it's the roles or the jobs that we have, or the roles we placed ourselves in, or the things that we feel like we need or we're grasping toward, that although we have like, even though our creations are based in illusions, there's a way to I don't want to say turn it around, but there's a way, like the verse is saying, to replace what you have made. And replacing that would look like seeing things in truth, seeing things through the lens of love instead of separation, instead of limits. So let's keep going. Yeah, and then it goes on to talk about decision. Where what you have made will lead rest only on your decision. Your decision, couched in many forms, is simply this: to proceed toward love or withdraw from it, to believe it is given or withheld. Love is all that follows the law of God in your world. All else assumes that what one has is denied another. While love cannot be learned nor practiced, there is practice we must do in order to recognize love's presence. We practice living by the law of love, a law of gain, not loss, a law that says the more you give, the more you gain. Also, I feel like this goes along with like cause and effect. Like, to give is to receive. They're in relationship and they're one. So, yeah. Let's continue to verse 9. Love is all that follows the law of God in your world. All else assumes that what one has is denied another. While love cannot be learned nor practiced, there is a practice we must do in order to recognize love's presence. We practice living by the law of love, a law of gain, not loss. A law that says the more you give, the more you gain. So, now we're going to verse 10. There are no losers and no winners under God's law. No one is given more than another. Right, so this is saying, this goes back to even what we were saying just in this previous verse, that under God's law, no one can really be denied. There's really no loss, but because we are creating from a place of separation, from a place of fear, from a place of doubt, it does feel like, oh, if this person takes something, then I'm losing it, or that I won't have the opportunity to receive the same thing. That it's like in truth, when we remember like the truth of who we are, that God gave us everything that we already need. There's no way that like lack could actually be true in reality. So let me go back to verse 9. Love is all that follows the law of God in your world. All else assumes that what one has is denied another. While love cannot be learned nor practiced, there is a practice we must do in order to recognize love's presence. We practice living by the law of love, a law of gain, not loss, a law that says the more you give, the more you gain. There are no losers and no winners under God's law. No one is giving more than another. God cannot love you more than your neighbor, nor can you earn more of God's love than you have, or a better place in heaven. All right, and I think that's like also what like we programmed ourselves to believe, whether through religion or in other like institutions, of like, if I strive more or if I effort more, then I'll get into heaven faster, or I'll definitely like be guaranteed to get into heaven. And so it's like people live their lives from a place of like guilt, from a place of like, if I do bad, then I've sinned and then I'm not gonna get into this place. And so yeah, we see it as like winners and losers. And but in this verse, it's saying like that need be no, that need not be anymore. Like we can just like release that thought and like begin practicing the law of love. So again, let's continue in verse 10. I think I was like a little bit, wasn't midway, I think it was just a couple of sentences in. So let's see. The mind, under the ego's direction, has thrived on winners and on losers, on striving for and earning a better place. The heart knows not these distinctions, and those who think their hearts have learnt them by being battered and abused by their experience here rejoice in knowing that it is not so. The seeming illusion is believed in because your mind has made it so. Your thoughts have reviewed and reviewed again all the pain that love has brought. It dwells on these occasions when love has failed because it does not recognize that love cannot fail. Verse 11. Your expectations and false perceptions of your brothers and sisters are what have caused you to believe that love can fail, be lost, be withdrawn, or turn to hate. Your false perception of your Father is what has caused all your perceptions to be false, including the one you hold of your own self. So again, this verse is really like has to do with what I was just mentioning, that because of like the false perceptions that we have about ourselves and we have about the world, we are then creating from a perception of loss, from a perception of lack, from a perception of that we're not complete within ourselves, that I must look outside of myself to gain what I do not have, to receive certain accolades, to receive certain awards, to make me worthy, and that's just not true. So let's continue. Verse 12. When you think of acting out of love, your thoughts of love are based on sentiments and must be challenged. Love is not being nice when you are feeling sorely. Love is not doing good deeds of charity and service. And even that sentence is interesting because it's curious, because if we've created all these false perceptions, it's like even the way that we think about charity and about service, like, is that in truth like the real definitions of what we think that these that we think that they are, right? And so let's continue. Love is not throwing logic to the wind, acting in a foolish way that pass as gaiety but cannot masquerade as joy. You each have an image in your mind of someone you believe knows what love is. This is perhaps an elderly person who is always kind and gentle, with no crossword for anyone and no concern for his or her own self. This is perhaps a mother whose love is blind and self-sacrificing. Still others of you might imagine a couple long married in which each person is still devoted to the other's happiness, or a father whose love is unconditional, or a priest or a minister, who guides unfailingly. For each or any one of these that you admire, you give attributes that you do not have and that you might one day acquire when the time is right. For that kind and gentle stance you do not believe will serve you now. The blindness and self-sacrifice is something to be gained at too high a price. That devotion you might think is fine for one whose partner is more loving than your own. That unconditional love is great, but must it not be tempered by good judgment? And surely that ability to guide others must be earned through the acquisition of wisdom not within your reach. So yeah, that's like really deep, this verse, because how I'm feeling, right, it feels deep for me, because those are stories that I've heard other people tell, that I've heard myself tell in my mind, and it's really based on comparison. It's like, I'm not here yet, but this person is, or this person is better, or this person can be like more devoted, or they're more loving. And again, it's like that comparison in the stories that we unconsciously are playing in the back of our minds. And also sometimes there's also grievances, right? Like ways that we're holding our brothers and sisters in a place of wanting to even see their downfall, wanting to, like having or holding vengeance thoughts. So let's continue. Thus, your image of love is based upon comparison. You have chosen one who demonstrates that which is in you is most lacking, and you use that image to chastise yourself by saying this is what you want. Right? Yeah. This is kind of what I was mentioning. Okay, verse 14. Your ideals of being in love are quite another category altogether. In this context, love is not only full of sentiment, but of romance. This stage of love is seldom seen as lasting or as something that can be maintained. It is the purview of the young and the daydream of the aging. It is synonymous with passion and an overflow of feelings that defy all common sense. To be in love is to be vulnerable. For once, common sense has failed to keep you acting as expected. You might forget to guard your heart, or to keep your real self in hiding. How dangerous indeed is such an act in a world where trust can turn to treachery. Verse 15. Each one of you has held an ideal of what the perfect mate would mean, an ideal that changed over time. Those most bound by the ego might think of stature and of wealth, of physical beauty, and the trappings of good upbringing. Those most insecure will believe in a partner who would shower him or her with praise and with gifts, with attention never wavering. Another who prizes independence seeks a partner in good health, not too demanding, a companion, and a lover who will be convenient within a busy life. You believe you can fall in love with the wrong person and make a better choice based on criteria more important than love. So I just want to stop right here because I'm already forgetting what chapter this was mentioned in, but this was lightly touched upon in a previous chapter. I think it was chapter 2, Love Is. Or maybe, I'm getting confused, but that's okay. But yeah, I feel like this was touched on a previous chapter. The belief that, not belief, but it was kind of brought to our awareness. Well, it was brought to our awareness that we determine our friends and our partners and these special relationships, these relationships that we choose out of convenience, out of getting something, that if I'm with this person, that I could possibly get more money, or if I'm with this person, I may be more, maybe have more friends, right? Be able to climb that social, that social scale. And so the way that, so I feel like in this sentence, that's exactly, it's coming back around, that the criteria that we base people on, or we base decisions on, and even jobs or profession on, it's what we can get. And how would this benefit me in the future? Then from a place of it naturally, having our hearts open and being our authentic self, and just kind of getting curious and wondering, and not being so attached to if I open my heart to this person, then okay, it's an experience, instead of it being there is an agenda, there's this curriculum, and so let's keep going. You thus believe love is a choice, something to be given to some and not to others. You hope to be a winner in this game you play, a chosen one who will have each ounce of love that is given returned in kind. This is a balancing act you play with God's most holy gift. resenting giving love that gains you little in return. And yet in this resentment, you recognize the truth of what love is. So I think I am going to, let's go up until verse 19. So we're gonna stop at verse 19. So let's keep on keeping on. Verse 17. In no other area of life do you expect such fairness, such exchange of equal value. You give your mind to an ideal, your body to a job, your days to activities that do not interest or fulfill you. You accept what you are paid with certain boundaries you have set. You expect that a certain amount of prestige will follow certain accomplishments. You accept that some tasks have to be done for survival's sake. You hope there will be some fairness here in what you give and what you are given back. You hope your hard work will produce results. The dinner you prepared be eaten with delight. Your ideals greeted as inspired. But this you do not expect. You often, in fact, expect the reverse to be the case, and are grateful for each acknowledgement the world gives you for the ways in which you spend your days. Spend your days you do, and soon that spending will deplete the limited numbers of days in store for you, and you will die. Life is not fair, nor meant to be, you claim, but love is something else. So this is the beliefs that we have. This is the belief that we carry around with us within our lives. So let's continue. Verse 18. In this you are correct, for love is nothing like your image of your life, and it has no resemblance to how you spend your days or the ways your days will end. Love is all that is set apart in your perception from what you do here. You think this setting apart gives love little relevance to other areas of your life. Love is seen as personal, something another gives in a special way to you alone, and you to him or her. Your love life has nothing to do with your work life, your issues of survival here, your ability to achieve success, or the state of your health and general welfare. Verse 19. Even you do not recognize what love is. Even you who do not recognize what love is, protect what you call love from the illusions you have made. Okay, we're gonna stop here for today, but I'm so excited to continue. It looks like there's so much more that Jesus is going to bring to our awareness. So I am super excited. And so we will start again on verse 20. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to put your comments about how this chapter thus far is making you feel, what emotions are coming up. Thank you all for watching. Bye.